Every single day, the average human being utters between 7,000 and 20,000 words, creating a constant stream of sound and meaning that vibrates through the air. We often treat these words as fleeting moments of breath, invisible and weightless, disappearing the moment they leave our lips. However, modern science and ancient revelation tell a far more profound story, that our words are not just symbols of communication, but architects of our physical and spiritual reality. From the perspective of neuroscience, the words we hear and speak have the power to physically reshape the structure of our brains. Dr. Andrew Newberg and Robert Waldman, in their research on words can change your brain, found that a single negative word can increase activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center. When the amygdala is overstimulated, it releases a flood of stress-producing hormones like cortisol, which can impair our logic, reason, and even our physical health. Conversely, positive, compassionate words can strengthen the frontal lobes, enhancing our cognitive functions and emotional regulation. This means that when we speak harshly to ourselves or others, we are not just venting, we are literally triggering a biological stress response that causes cellular damage. On a global scale, data from the digital world shows that the internet has become a massive laboratory for the impact of language. Research from the Pew Research Center suggests that online harassment and cyberbullying lead to significant increases in depression and anxiety among teenagers worldwide. A single tweet or comment, composed in seconds, can have a ripple effect that crosses oceans and destroys a person's mental well-being for years. This digital footprint is a modern manifestation of the ancient truth that words have a weight that transcends time and space. The Quran recognizes this immense power of language, positioning the ability to speak as one of the greatest gifts bestowed upon humanity. The Quran states in Ar-Rahman 55, 3-4, He created man and taught him eloquence. Eloquence, or al-bayan, is the capacity to clarify thoughts and feelings, a tool meant for enlightenment rather than destruction. In the business world, linguists have found that the way leaders speak directly correlates with the productivity and morale of their teams. Companies that foster a culture of psychological safety, where words are used to encourage and validate, consistently outperform those that use language as a tool of fear. Furthermore, the placebo effect and its dark twin, the nocebo effect, demonstrate how a doctor's words can literally change a patient's recovery rate. If a doctor tells a patient a treatment will be painful, the patient's brain begins to process pain signals even before the procedure starts. This shows that the human mind is highly suggestible. We live within the narratives that we and others construct through speech. This is why the Quran sets a very high standard for the quality of our speech, demanding that we speak with qaulun sadida, a word that is straight, true, and purposeful. The Quran states in Al-Ahzab 33:70, O you who have believed, fear Allah and speak words of appropriate justice. This appropriate justice in speech means that our words should align with reality and should not be used to distort the truth. In the field of linguistics, the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis suggests that the language we use influences the way we perceive the world. If our vocabulary is filled with violent and aggressive terms, our subconscious begins to view the world as a hostile place. On the other hand, if we consciously use words of gratitude and peace, we prime our brains to notice opportunities and beauty. This is not just positive thinking. It is a linguistic recalibration of the human nervous system. Global search data from Google Trends indicates a rising interest in affirmations and mindful communication, reflecting a collective realization that our inner and outer dialogue needs healing. Yet, we often fail to realize that the most dangerous words are the ones we say in secret, the backbiting and gossip that occur when the subject is not present. Social psychologists call this relational aggression, and it is one of the most common ways that social fabrics are torn apart. The Quran uses a vivid and terrifying metaphor to describe the act of backbiting, comparing it to the most repulsive act imaginable. The Quran states in Al-Hujurat 49:12, and do not spy or backbite each other. Would one of you like to eat the flesh of his brother when dead? You would detest it. This imagery is designed to shock the conscience, reminding us that gossip is a form of spiritual cannibalism that consumes the dignity of others. In the modern era of cancel culture, we see how easily a collective word can dehumanize an individual, stripping them of their nuance and humanity. Once a person is labeled with a derogatory word, the collective mind finds it easier to justify their exclusion or suffering. History shows that every genocide in human history, from the Holocaust to Rwanda, began with the dehumanization of a group through specific, calculated words. Words are the priming for action. Before a hand is lifted in violence, the tongue has already paved the way. However, words also possess the power to heal the deepest wounds of the soul. Therapeutic practices like talk therapy or journaling are based entirely on the principle that putting feelings into words allows the brain to process and release trauma. When we name our pain, we gain a degree of mastery over it. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, famously said that a good word is a form of charity. This means that when you give someone a sincere compliment or a word of encouragement, you are providing a spiritual sustenance as vital as food. The Quran reminds us that a good word is like a stable, fruitful tree, while a bad word is like a rootless, dying weed. The Quran states in Ibrahim 14:24-25, "Have you not considered how Allah presents an example, making a good word like a good tree, whose root is firmly fixed and its branches high in the sky? It produces its fruit at all times by permission of its Lord." A good word provides shade, nourishment, and oxygen to the community, and its impact lasts long after the speaker has passed away. Think of the words of great figures like Martin Luther King Jr., Rumi, or the Sahaba. Their words continue to inspire million centuries later. Conversely, the Quran warns about the instability of malicious speech. The Quran states in Ibrahim 14:26, "And the example of a bad word is like a bad tree, uprooted from the surface of the earth, not having any stability. Evil words may create a temporary storm, but they have no spiritual foundation and will eventually be forgotten or rejected by the truth." In the realm of physics, sound is energy, and energy never truly disappears. It only changes form. Some theories suggest that the vibrations of our speech leave a permanent mark on the environment around us. While this is still a subject of scientific debate, the psychological vibration we leave in a room after we speak is undeniably real. We have all experienced entering a room where a heated argument just took place. The air feels heavy and uncomfortable. We also know the feeling of a room filled with laughter and kind words. It feels light and welcoming. We are the tuners of our environment. Through our words, we set the frequency of our homes and workplaces. The most important person you talk to every day is yourself. Research in cognitive behavioral therapy shows that negative self-talk is the primary driver of low self-esteem and chronic anxiety. If you constantly tell yourself, "I am a failure," or "I am not enough," your subconscious mind accepts these as commands and begins to act accordingly. The Quran encourages a state of dhikr, remembrance, which is essentially a conscious effort to fill our internal and external dialogue with the praise of the Creator. When the tongue is busy with the remembrance of Allah, there is no room for the toxins of ego, pride, or despair. The Quran states in Ar-Ud 13:28, "Unquestionably, by the remembrance of Allah hearts are assured." This assurance is a biological and spiritual state of coherence where the heart and brain are in sync. Silence, too, is a powerful form of word. Sometimes the most meaningful thing we can say is nothing at all. In a world that demands a constant take or opinion on everything, the ability to remain silent is a sign of immense wisdom and self-control. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Whoever believes in Allah and the last day, let him speak good or remain silent." This simple rule, if applied globally, would solve a significant percentage of human conflicts. Silence allows us to listen, and listening is the foundation of empathy. When we stop talking, we begin to hear the unspoken words of others, their pain, their hopes, and their fears. Every word we utter is being recorded, not just by our digital devices, but by the spiritual observers that accompany every soul. The Quran reminds us that we are never off the record. The Quran states in Qaf 50:18, "Man does not utter any word except that with him is an observer prepared to record." This awareness should not make us fearful, but rather mindful. It teaches us that our speech has consequences that extend beyond the immediate moment. On the day of judgment, our own limbs and the very earth we stood upon will testify to what we have said. Imagine if every word you spoke today was printed on the front page of a global newspaper tomorrow. Would you be proud or ashamed? This accountability of speech is what separates a person of integrity from a person of hypocrisy. A hypocrite uses words as a mask to hide their true intentions, while a believer uses words as a mirror to reflect their inner truth. In the age of post-truth and alternative facts, the value of a truthful word has become more precious than gold. Trust is the currency of civilization, and trust is built entirely through the consistency of our words and actions. When we break our word, we break a piece of the social contract that holds us together. The Quran emphasizes the fulfillment of promises as a core characteristic of the successful. The Quran states in Al-Mu'minun 23:8, "And those who are to their trusts and their promises attentive, your word is your bond." It is the outward expression of your internal character. As we navigate the complexities of the 21st century, we must reclaim the sanctity of language. We must teach our children that their voices are powerful instruments that can be used to build or to destroy. We must challenge the culture of shouting matches and replace it with the culture of civilized dialogue. The Quran instructs us to argue with others in the best and most gracious manner. The Quran states in An-Nahl 16:125, "Invite to the way of your Lord with wisdom and good instruction, and argue with them in a way that is best." This means that even when we disagree, our words should remain rooted in respect and dignity. Let us commit to being gardeners of speech, planting seeds of kindness wherever we go. Let us use our words to stand up for the oppressed, to comfort the grieving, and to spread the light of truth. Remember that a single word can save a life, just as a single word can end one. The legacy you leave behind will be composed of the echoes of the words you spoke while you were here. In the end, the weight of your life is the weight of your whispers and your shouts. May Allah guide our tongues to speak only that which is pleasing to Him and beneficial to His creation. Your voice is a gift. Use it to be a light in a world that often feels dark. Thank you for journeying with us through the profound impact of the human voice. If this message resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to the QURANxINSIGHT channel to help us spread wisdom to every corner of the world.